Thanks for tuning in to the Student Services Leadership Team podcast, where we strive to help students for life after high school and the success in between. Whether it's learning about academics or college and careers, we hope you find the insight you're looking for.
Hello, welcome back to the SSLT podcast. I'm your host, Isabel Salcedo, and today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Miguel Salcedo. Thank you so much for coming in to talk with us.
Thank you for the warm welcome. It is a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Dr. Miguel Salcedo, and I am officially, my official title for Chicago Public Schools is I am the Director of Post-Secondary Strategic Interventions for the Office of School Counseling and Post-Secondary Advising. What does all that mean is that I manage university partnerships. So really I support students. There's over 150 high schools. There is anywhere between 20,000 to 24,000 high schoolers that go off to college. And I, along with another few team members and the rest of the department, which is at least around 50 of us that really support the transition from high school students to college. In addition to that, I support our what we call target populations. And this is our African-American males, our Latino males, undocumented students, students living in temporary living situations, pretty much those students that need an extra lift, an extra level of support. I am there along with my team to support them as they transition to whatever it is after high school. So whether it's military, whether it's trades, whether it's colleges or universities, that is a little bit about my job role.
Thanks so much for explaining. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, we wanted to do this podcast to focus specifically on the Latino students in our school and how to help them with college. So we know you got your doctorate's degree. What did you study in college and what motivated you to pursue this topic?
Absolutely. So I did come in to college with the intent of trying to become a criminal defense lawyer. I did major in political science as well as Latina studies at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And in addition to that, I ended up expanding it and going into my master's and PhD where I studied education policy studies and Latina studies. So when I first started off with my undergrad, I did go in with the intent of trying to go into law school. However, something happened to me in the middle of my college year. So in the summer of my junior year, I did this summer research program, which is called the Ronald E. McNair Scholars, which is really to prepare you for grad school. And the idea was for them to support you will support minority students going into higher ed to get their master's or PhD with the intent of trying to diversify the faculty in Illinois. So as you know, there is not many Black or Latino professors in higher education. And that was really my intent of trying to tap into a different career. So as I mentioned, I was going to become a criminal defense lawyer, but I did see that there was a change of heart in the middle of my college career, which was really that I want to become a lawyer. And I saw that as a reactionary profession because 9 times out of 10, when they have young people, especially young males in the criminal justice system, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get sentenced. And there's not really a negotiation of their innocence, it's more a negotiation of their sentencing. I didn't necessarily like that profession after I learned. So I said I would prefer that we do education as my prevention. This is the reason why I wanted to become a professor. So I ended up doing education policy studies in order for me to prepare myself as a professor. So that's a little bit about.
Thank you so much for explaining. As you know, pretty sure you did a lot of schooling, went to school for a lot of years. What were some of the injustices or challenges you faced while attending school that you think should be addressed more in the future?
Absolutely. So I did go to a predominantly white institution, which I'll be honest, most universities are predominantly white. The percentage of minority students, in particular Latino students at the University of Illinois, it's less than 10%, at least when I was there. So the majority of those Latino students vary from the neighborhoods they come from. So some come from the city, some come from the suburbs, some come from rural. As you know, some that come from the suburbs are more affluent, so they have more resources. They might not be first generation college students. Those individuals that are reflective of my background and my community are first generation college students, and they're also first generation immigrants. So their parents were born in whatever country. For in my case, I have Mexican immigrant parents. So I come from a mixed status family. I also come from my family, me being the first of the youngest of 9 children, the first one to go to college. So those type of issues of preparing families and students for higher education, not just accessing them, so enrollment and admissions, but also supporting them financially, because we know that a lot of our families are low income and cannot afford higher education. So we need to figure out how to support them with scholarships, how to find institutional aid, meaning like universities that provide internal funding to support priority populations. And most importantly, is not just getting them there and getting them funded, but also supporting them with wraparound services. When they get there, how do we support them academically? How do we support them in their social emotional, like student clubs? How do we connect them to ensure that they are connected to the majors and careers that they are interested in? So a lot of people change their majors. A lot of people get jobs that are not associated with the majors that they majored in. So these are the type of things that we need to be more targeted when we're focusing on Latino students going to higher ed.
And why do you think it's important for schools and, just people in general to focus on the education of Latino students? And more specifically, as you said, they might not have as many resources and opportunities. How can the school help Latino or any minority students at that succeed in and after high school?
Absolutely. First, focus on the student, as the student needs to be super knowledgeable about the processes, the procedures, the protocols to apply to higher education, enroll and graduate. But also there's this untapped area of parents. You are not aware of the level of education that the parents have, or if they even speak English, or even know how to navigate the education system. So there's a bunch of areas that we really need to focus on our parents and educating them so that they are also knowledgeable about the finances behind higher education, but also how can a parent support their child going to college. There's a lot of strategies there that we can employ in our high schools so that way they don't fall into the cracks when they're in higher education. In higher education, it's a lot quicker for you to drop out, get in trouble, get on academic probation, be in debt with the school, which restricts you or limits you from registering for the next class or the next semester. So there's a variety of ideas and strategies that we can do to support both the student, the family, and also the community, because we know that they're not separated. They are all interconnected, and we really need to kind of explore the different ways on how to support all 3 areas: the communities they're coming from, the parents, and the student.
So going off of that, what college advice would you give to the students who may not know that much about the process of applying to and or attending college?
Yeah, I would believe that the first one is a lot of exposure and awareness. So this is like, let's not take our young people junior, senior year to colleges. Let's take them in 8th grade. Let's take them in 6th grade. A lot of the individuals that are exposed to higher education, like let's say a professor, I would take my kids to my campus, to my job, early on as elementary kids. They already have an exposure and they already are held to an expectation that they're going to college. So when we're talking about, hey, why take a college field trip junior, senior year when we can take a college field trip 7th or 8th grade? That way we start planting the seeds and we start exposing them to the different majors and careers that we can. If I want to be a cop, if I want to be a lawyer, if I want to be a doctor, I want to be exposed to those spaces, not just the lecture classrooms and the campus, but also connecting them to job shadow days. If I want to be a lawyer, I want to go and do an internship at a law firm. So that way I can get the day-to-day experience of this is how your 9-to-5 job would look like. Is this really what you want to do? If you want to be a medical doctor, I don't want you to be afraid of needles or blood or working with nurses, because this is the livelihood, the everyday activities that you're going to have to be exposed to. So being able to do all of that exposure, in addition, I would apply to as many colleges as possible. I would weigh out my differences or the different options or acceptance that I would get from colleges and say, what is the most financially fit option for me and my family? So I know a lot of high schools are really excited to hear that our high school students are going to prestigious universities, but the name by itself doesn't necessarily satisfy all of your requirements. It has to be a well balance. It has to be one, academically fit, Does the school offer your major? 2, are they giving you financial aid packages that you can afford? And 3, is it comfortable for what you're looking for in the sense of social, emotionally, culturally? Is there a space for you where you are going to feel welcome in that university? Because it could be the major they offer you, they can have a full ride. But if you feel like you are a loner, you're not welcome, it's not a friendly campus, then that also is another factor for you to consider as you prepare your decision for higher ed.
Okay, thank you so much. And final question, what would you say to students, especially first-gen students who kind of have a lot of pressure on them to go to college? What would you say to them in terms of advice of getting over the stress or the pressure or feeling anxious over the expectation of going to college and succeeding?
Yeah, seek out mentors in the building. I know sometimes that's hard, but they all went to college. Most of these most of these teachers, most of these administrators, staff, all have experiences with different higher eds. Asking them, hey, what did you like? What did you dislike? What are some consejos or tips that you can give me so I can start exploring? 2, plan ahead. I know that sometimes we get stressed out with deadlines, but if you start working on your personal statements, if you start working on your college applications in the summer before senior year, you can get ahead of the game so that way you're not stressed out in the fall semester, which is when we do early enrollment, early decision, when you need to get FAFSA in. All of those things can be worked proactively. And last but not least, don't let the timeline, don't let the money, don't let all these other external factors deter you from keeping your eyes on the prize. We know that in order for you to succeed in this economy, in this society, you really need to go get a bachelor's. And nowadays, even a master's is encouraged because you're more competitive, you're more marketable, you're able to tap into different sectors of the economy by having additional advanced degrees.
Thank you so much for coming and talk to us. I'm sure your advice will help a lot of our students. So yeah, just thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to listen to all of our future and past podcasts on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Or check out our Instagram and Twitter at SSLT_Sandberg, as well as our website to find information regarding future colleges and careers.